Welcome, everyone. It's 12:03. We're going to go ahead and get started. We appreciate you attending. This is IT Management, our thermal scanning camera and kiosk solution for body temperature post-COVID-19. That is a mouthful. Let me run through the agenda real quick. A couple of things logistically. If you have questions, there is a Q&A section of your Zoom webinar. Go ahead and click in there and put your question there. That way we can make sure that they get answered. Anything we don't get answered today in the Q&A section, we'll make sure we get out to you guys, and we'll email it to everyone when this is over if we don't catch that. So please put those in the Q&A. If you put them into the chat, they often get lost. So I wanted to make sure of that. Only other piece of logistics, restrooms are down the hall past your kitchen. It's all good. Hey, let me cover the agenda real quick. Again, this is IT Management. My name is Joe Jenkins. I'm our Vice President of Business Development. I've been in tech for about 37 years. I was a school district CTO for 15 of those. I've been around tech for an awfully long time and have put in a lot of this kind of technology. So that's who I am. So the first section, I'm going to go through a brief overview of who IT Management is, so you can understand our company and what we do. And then I'll also talk about how we got involved in this particular issue. While thermal imaging cameras and the available solutions, we'll go into some detail there. The kiosk and portable handheld units and options. So we're going to go through each model and give you guys some in-depth knowledge of that. Some of that will be deeply technical, some of it will not. Then we'll get into the little deeper cameras, the thermal imaging cameras, and then the black body cameras, FDA and the guidelines. The last piece, we're actually going to show you the enterprise solutions that we offer and how we got to those offerings and the pricing. So when you leave out of here today, you're actually going to have an idea what this stuff costs. And last but not least, we have some additional COVID-19 solutions that we've identified. And at the end of the webinar, we're going to cover some of those. And then we'll have a session for Q&A. Again, you're welcome all the way through the webinar to go ahead and put questions in our Q&A, and we'll answer them as we go. So let me kick this off with a little bit about the company. I'll go through this pretty quickly, but I wanted you guys to know who we were. IT Management's been a company for 10 years. We are based out of the Bay Area. Our main office in Santa Clara. We also have offices in Redding. That's where I'm currently at, in the fun, exciting, blazing heat. We have offices in Sacramento, Carmel, and down in Southern California in Tarzana. We are a California local exchange carrier, which means we are, with our voice solution, we have the requirements from the state to meet for quality, satisfaction, and support. So we thought that was pretty important. That's something that we're very proud of. We have a lot of technical certifications and authorizations from companies like Cisco, Aruba, Ruckus, Bricata, and so on. We have many partnerships as a company. We strategically located our company. We want to make sure that we're in a near geographic area to the people that we serve. We serve mostly government, municipalities, and education. That is the bulk of our market. We do have markets in commercial, healthcare, and others, but our focus is really around that, government agencies, SLED market. I love this slide. This kind of tells you a little bit about who the company is as a whole. IT Management is the core of our company. We own some other companies, though, that we think are pretty important. 101 Voice is our cloud-managed telephony product. That is completely managed and delivered. This is why we're a CLEC, is so that we can deliver that at the quality that's required in the state of California. Part of that, we've added text broadcasting services because today, all of our parents text, so we wanted to have people the ability to communicate with text as well as communicate with telephony. And then 101 Hub is our collaboration service. That is all packaged or can be packaged together, but that's our cloud services. On the other side is Galaxy Wi-Fi and Galaxy LTE. Those are both, again, managed deliverable platforms. The reason we have all these platforms built that way is, one, the wave of the future is the cloud. Also, we have many customers who receive these or inherit these technologies and don't have the staff to actually manage them, nor are given the money to manage them. So we stood these up for that purpose. Wi-Fi is Wi-Fi. That's pretty straightforward. And LTE is actually private CBRS. That is a technology that's fairly new. That is pretty important. We're not going to go into it deeply today, but if you have questions on that, we're happy to cover that. And the one I'm most excited about is Polytons. We developed that. The owner of our company, Armand, who you get to hear in a little bit, he has a belief if we have to touch it more than twice, it should be automated, so we automated it. That's a very cool utility that allows us to deploy things automatically. So that's a little snapshot of the companies and the companies that we own. We're a very decorated company. We win awards almost weekly. It's very important to us as we develop technologies. We don't put a technology on the market, somewhat like what we're talking about today, that we haven't deeply vetted and tested. We want to make sure before we hand it to our customers, we know that it actually works and it will deliver the promise of whatever the technology is supposed to deliver. So we're pretty excited about that. And for doing that, we've been awarded a lot of different stuff. A lot of it around unified communications. Our VP of operations recently became one of the CRN women of the channel. We're very proud of her and very proud of what she's accomplished. I think that's really cool. Real quick, some of the other things we do as a company, secure wire and wireless. So if it goes from the classroom or the office to the data center, we touch it. So we have our own cabling contractor as part of our company. I'm going to actually show you a couple pictures of our modular data center. I think that was a really cool thing. A lot of technical folks on the phone, I think, will just like that. We do data center retrofits. I've already talked about LTE and CBRS. Very heavy in video surveillance. That's one of our key offerings. Network and physical security. Those I think should go hand in hand. We offer both. We're very good at both. IT procurement, almost everything we sell, because we deal with a lot of public sector, is available in the public sector on a piggyback contract that's already been vetted. So we have a lot of different options for that. I've talked a little bit about managed voice over IP. That's one of our key products. The importance of that product as well, it keeps our company stable, right? One of the challenges in this business is every month you have to earn your keep again, and we're fortunately in a position every month where some of that's taken care of for us. And then last but not least, we have a very professional RFP response team. If you've received one of our RFP responses, you'll know what we're talking about. They often come with videos and so on, but they're very professionally done. Gives us a good insight into the way our company operates. So thank you very much. I wanted to share just to give you an example of some of the things we do. This was a modular data center we dropped into a customer at, I believe, in San Francisco. And they didn't have space for a data center, so we built one in a box and dropped it on their property on a slab of concrete and hooked it up for them. This took a few weeks. It's not a simple thing to do, but it's a very efficient way to do this. And it runs as a high-class data center. So it just kind of gives you an idea what the design looks like. A couple of pictures for you. I wasn't kidding. We didn't drop it. We did lower it down nice and soft, but it did get dropped into the organization out in their parking lot, basically. So this was really cool. We put a data center where there was no data center. Hooked it up, provided cooling. This thing had security, cameras, access control, and so on. Little peek into the inside of it. You can see it's a full-blown data center with hot and cold aisles. It is in production today. Thing runs like a champ. And again, if you want some more information on this, we'll give you some information to contact us. I just thought this would be a really cool thing to introduce who we are as a company. Basically, at the end of the day, if IT runs the world, we plan, deploy, and manage it. That's who IT management is. And without further ado, I'm going to dive into why we're here today, right? Because one of the questions got to be going through your mind as well is, hey, why is an IT company talking to me about fever and infection and how we take temperature and where did this come about? How did we become a company that's dealing with this? And COVID has made a lot of interesting changes, I think, in this industry. And one of the things we pride ourselves on as a company, when I joined this company, this is one thing that Armand said to me that really hit home, is we always want to be an innovative company. One of the challenges in this business is companies stop being innovative. They stop engineering and learning and providing things that folks aren't thinking about. And when we get calls from our customers, and this is kind of what happened, is someone reached out to us and said, hey, this is a problem. Do you guys have any thoughts around how it can be solved? So we started to research and we started to dig in, and we spent a lot of time and effort researching how to do this the right way, what the right equipment is to make this work, what's out there that's good, what's out there that's bad. And Armand's going to get to share a lot of that information with you, but we took this pretty seriously. Same thing with some of the stuff that Ramin will share with you at the end. We've jumped into some other technologies like hybrid classroom, and some stuff with remote connectivity that we wouldn't have done had this change not come about and someone talked to us and asked us about it. So that's how we got involved in this in the first place. Again, as a company, we want to do it the right way. So as we start talking about this particular challenge and what happened, if you guys look at what's going on in California today, the COVID-19 has taken off again and has taken off in a much faster pace. The current positive results in the nation today runs consistently at about 5%. Currently in California, at the rate we're on, we're running at 7%. We are the fastest growing yeses, if you will, or positive results in the nation or in the country. Matter of fact, I think even in the world today. So this problem isn't going away anytime soon. If anything, it seems to be growing again and growing at a faster pace than it was before, and it's important that we get our hands on it. So how do we do that, right? These are the guiding principles for prevention and control of infectious diseases. It's all about early and often. Like most anything that we deal with that we're trying to stop, we got to discover it as soon as we can, get it isolated and away from everybody. That's where the masks and the detection and the stuff gets really important. Let everybody know what's going on so they understand it. So early reporting, early treatment. And the two biggest things is prevent diffusion and cut off transmission. So how do we do that, right? How do we get to this thing detected as soon as we can? One of the things that is probably as critical as anything in this space is fever. These are the top 28 infectious diseases out of 39 that fevers are the early stage symptom. So if we can detect fever early and often, we have a shot at getting our hands around this disease sooner than later, right? And keeping it from getting out of control. This is that containment piece. This is that early detection. We can immediately move to trying to get some resolution in place. So, and the atypical symptom of COVID-19 is, in fact, of the COVID-19 infection is fever. So as you can see, the rest of this stuff, it's all flu-like diseases. Flu itself, Ebola virus, avian influenza. That is very hard to say. I apologize. That's basically the bird flu. But as most of these are, they're flu-like symptoms. And if we can get our hands around body temperature measurement, detect fevers before things get out of control, and take preventive measures, we're going to be in great shape. So how are we trying to do this today? Where do we come to this point? Right? I've done a lot of research in the last couple of weeks with some of my colleagues in education. I had someone I talked to yesterday. They did a test with typical traditional temperature measurement. They tried 150 kids. It took them an hour and a half. And it took them 3 or 4 people. So part of the problem with this, it's very time consuming. It takes a lot of people and manpower, which costs money. It's not dramatically accurate. And how in the world, that's only 150 kids. Imagine if you have a high school with 2,000 kids, right? It's a waste of time and energy, right? Like I said, it takes people out of the job they should be doing. It's not accurate. You're talking about a $30 or $40 piece of equipment. Armand's going to talk about that equipment itself. It's a very low cost, very ineffective piece of equipment. Often the people using it are making contact with the people they're testing, which just spreads the disease even further. It is not designed for anything long-term or anything high volume. And at the present moment, there's no data that it forms because no one's tracking that data anywhere, right? So that's the other problem we have. We really don't know how bad the problem really is because we're not really tracking the problem. So that is the challenge of using a traditional temperature taking process. So this is why we dove into this particular issue. We have clients that called and said, hey, we just can't do this. I can't afford to hire 4 people all year. We can't get through it efficiently anyway. I think this is going to change the way we enter our buildings and our facilities. We have to think about that. So there's a lot of things within this problem we have to wrap our hands around of how we're going to accomplish it. Not just about getting the information. How do we get the people aside and talk to them? How do we get them through the facility in a way that makes sense? And then how do we measure as many people as we can in a timely manner? So hopefully that kind of sets the stage for the rest of the day today. I'm going to turn this over to Armand. He's going to dig into the technical stuff. He's going to show you the toys, the stuff you came here to really see. So without further ado, let me give you our CEO, Armand Erbali.
Thank you so much for your time. Just want to make sure that I set up my screen. right. Well, thank you so much for your time. Good afternoon. And Joe, thanks so much for the introduction. And I appreciate all the team members that helped out in the last couple of weeks to send out the invitations and invite people such as yourself to this event. So I really appreciate everybody that has helped us spread the word, and also the great friends and the list that I can see on the list that have joined this event. So thank you so much. I know you have lots of things to do, and the fact that you put time to attend this webinar, it means a great deal to us. So I will try to give you some meat and potato, if you will, so that you are essentially equipped with good enough knowledge to be able to take it to the next level. So a couple of things I want to mention to you is that this product and any of the products that we are introducing in here are not medical grade products. These are not to be used in doctor's offices or for a medical purpose. They are essentially products that would do temperature screening. So that being said, let's dive in and start going through this. The first thing is that what Joe has indicated is a device like this. Typical from CVS, Rite Aid, Amazon, anywhere between $30 to $65, depending how many buttons you wanted to have and what kind of sale the local pharmacy has. So this device is used quite a bit. It is somewhat accurate as long as it's not being dropped, and it's able to read your temperature with plus and minus 0.5 Celsius. So a couple of things, and 0.5 Celsius is 0.9 Fahrenheit. Some of the measurements in here that you're going to be seeing, unfortunately, is going to be based on international measurements such as Celsius and meter. So we'll try to basically translate those to US standards as much as possible, and see if there's any question, please post it. So now, typical device is this, and you see that, and like Joe said, the problem with that device is that people are going to be standing in a line, so it's very time consuming, it's hard to track, and it is very labor intensive. However, in some areas in California, they are recommended. In some areas, they are part of a regulation. In some areas, such as Santa Clara County Office of Education, from what I'm told, it is not so recommended right now because of the other reasons. So we'll see if regulations are changing or not. However, if you are here and you want to be equipped with information regarding these kind of devices or other cameras, that's what we're going to focus on. The products that we're going to go over are as follows. We will be going over a kiosk, which you see on the top left corner of your screen. These devices are tablet devices that are somewhat an appliance, if you will. 8-inch of display, running Android operating system with 3 cameras. 2 cameras are built into the device, are there for facial recognition, which will be used for detecting a mask, and AI for essentially artificial intelligence to recognize the individual. The camera on the top is an IR camera, which would basically be used for reading your temperature. The device to the right-hand side, which is red, is a handheld device. It is a device that has a battery, can operate about 4 to 5 hours continuously, and has an SD memory card for 16 gigabytes of storage, and it can be connected via USB to a computer as well. The device to the left bottom is a mid-size range high-speed camera that can also read temperature, and the one in the right corner, bottom of the screen, what we call as a Panda, which is very high speed and has many capabilities and qualities. Now, the KS3800 AI is our kiosk model. It can be mounted on a wall. It can be mounted on essentially on a stand, which I have an example I'll show you, and it's capable of also being desktop mounted, so you can leave it on a entrance table lobby, depending on your setting. It can be enabled with facial mask for face mask recognition, or it can also be connected to Google speech to text. So if you have already uploaded the profile of the people of your office, your domain, your structure, it's able to match their name and read their name to using Google. It can be networked, or it could be a standalone. If it is networked, it's capable of also being part of a managed service, managed system. So if you have multiple of these devices, they can essentially upload their data to your management system. It's also equipped with a card reader. So if you want to have a door open access, or if you want to be able to have the device open a door upon a successful temperature reading. Green means go, red means stop, kind of thing. So these are a little bit more information about the device. And what we have is that we have this unit and we've been testing it. And it's pretty much capable of doing what it does. It is a fast reader as long as you have the device in the right height, so it's able to capture the face. As you can see, there is an outline, which the face of the visitor needs to be somewhat lined in there to be able to make sure it's read properly. That means that it can be as close as about 3 feet to the device. These devices can be mounted on door gates, similar to what you see on the left, and also, as I mentioned to you, on a stand. What we have seen with this device, given that it does have those high-end cameras, it is able to recognize who is the actual individual, and if it's the actual individual, or it's a photo, or if it is a wax. So this device has also lots of different outputs. It goes on a network. It has a USB connection. It also has connection to alarm and door access control. It has the stand that I told you for a desktop and variations of the different type of stand. What I have here in my office, which I'll show you, is the one that has the hand sanitizer. So the unit is right now on a screensaver. So I'm gonna turn around so you can see a little bit of that. So what it says is that it's enabled right now for temperature scanning and mask scanning. So that's basically what the settings are. We can enable both, we can disable both, and so forth. So I'm going to walk into the device.
Please align with the temperature measuring area. Temperature is normal, 97.9 degrees.
So that's all it is. The unit was able to read the temperature very quickly. It registers the temperature in the system, so you can go back and take a look at the tracking and audit control. If it is, the temperature is red, if the temperature is higher, it can sound an alarm, or it can basically send a very minor tone, so you can pull the individual for further screening with a medical device, or maybe that individual was running and standing in the sun for quite some time, and so forth. These devices are mostly indoor or in the environment that are not in direct sun or heat, or doesn't have too much of the climate around influencing the accuracy of the device. So that's the kiosk. It's like I said, it's kind of self-contained unit. It can read people like about 2 or 3 seconds per person, even faster if you have it at the right height with the right alignment to the individual. And if you have multiple of these, then the data can be synchronized back to the centralized management system. That's for the kiosk. Again, KS3800 AI. AI, as most of you know, is artificial intelligence. Now, how do we move on to other applications, such as folks in the office that they may not be able to stand by a device and be perfectly screened? How about if a device, AI, is not an important issue to you? How about if face mask is not a requirement at the moment for what you're trying to do? Or even kids getting on a bus or folks getting on a bus and they need to be screen checked. So for that, we looked at a handheld device, a portable unit that has 2.8 inches of LCD screen, an SD memory card, which is capable of registering every scan in a BMP format, good old picture format, and that SD card can be passed on to dispatch or a health department for archiving, downloading of a track of who was scanned. Because here's the thing, if buses need to basically be doing screening, you don't want to add another individual just to scan folks or kids. And you don't want to basically get the driver to park and put the car in a safe spot, come out and screen and then get on. What if this device is mounted to one of the poles or the pillars in the bus, and as kids are stepping on the bus, onboarding, they are able to be screened. So when it comes to these handhelds, there are many, many different devices. So a little bit of a history of how I came across these. Some of you know that 101 Voice OEM its phones, and our phones are manufactured in China, similar to many, many other companies, Polycom, Cisco, you name it. So I have got to go to Hong Kong and China quite a bit. And about 10 years ago when I was in Hong Kong, I saw high-speed cameras that were able to capture populations or screen population's temperature. And they were designated individuals that were able to go in and pull the people that were having higher temperature out of the population. That was about 10 years ago, so knew about the product. So as Joe said, as we were approached by customers about this challenge, contact some of our manufacturing in China and some of the connections we have to basically get some information. There are many products that are imitators. There are many products that are good but not robust. There are many products that are capable. What we did is that we not only tested some of these products here in the US, actually most of the product, but also we had our manufacturing partner in Shenzhen to work with some of these manufacturing and vet out those who were a little bit of a suspect, if you will. So when it comes to handheld, there are many different handhelds. There are handheld thermometer scanners that folks are selling in the market that are used for industrial screening, such that if a wire is hot or not necessarily for human body temperature. And what I mean is pretty much in here, these are the products that are in the market right now when it comes to handheld devices. One thing matter is the IR resolution. Almost all these products are designated to be for temperature scanning. IR resolution is a resolution of the thermometer imaging or thermal imager scanning device that's able to scan. So 80 by 60 and goes all the way up to 256 by 192. For a handheld, that's pretty good. Also, frame rate is quite important. So what we did is that going through a process of elimination, if you will, and looking at various different units, surprisingly, most of these look identical, either a black jacket or red jacket, and so forth. So what we have done is that we have tested and stand behind a particular one, which we call Etch. That is their product that is much more capable of the rest of them. It has a higher accuracy. It has a much wider field of view, so it can basically capture more people as they come along, and it's all in all, it's a better product. Now, this device, like I said, it's a portable device and very easy to operate. Now, moving on from the thermal handheld portable device to a camera that has thermal imaging scanning built into it, we have come across a number of products. One of the products is our TIC 3000 AI. For most products, what we focused on was making sure that there's an AI in there. The artificial intelligence gives you lots and lots of advantages, not only for facial recognition, which you will be amazed with some of these cameras, what they're able to do, but also detecting a face versus an image or another device. So what you see in here, using a thermal camera, if positioned correctly, it's able to scan a particular physical location and a virtual wall, if you will. And as people are coming into that perimeter, the camera will scan them and it will record their temperature. Now, it can be connected to some kind of alarm, it can be connected to a monitor for further screening or inspection. What you see also in this image is that optional black body. I'll go over the black body in a few minutes, but right now, I just want to basically go over one of the entry-level products that we are looking at, TIC 3000 AI. It is capable of about scanning 15 to 16 people per second as they are basically walking through, and it's able to register the temperature over their head as they're walking in. Keep in mind, what you're going to be seeing in the video next is going to be based on Celsius, and 36 degrees, 37 degrees Celsius is normal. So that's what you're going to be seeing. All these products do have a setting to basically change them to US standard, which would be Fahrenheit and so forth. So here's the product. It indicates that it is capable to be an outdoor. However, we don't recommend it because outdoor elements and the microclimate can affect the accuracy of the device. It is capable of reading people in about 6 feet or 8 feet out. That's pretty much the zone in which it's capable of scanning people as they come in. In the image to the right, you can see that this binocular camera, or this camera, while it has 3 lenses, one is capable of reading images at 2 megapixels to be able to get a facial and essentially the regular color and resolution of what the image is. The IR is able to basically read the temperature and so forth. The other camera that it has in there can also work with what we call black body, which I'll go over in a few minutes. This camera, the accuracy on this camera is about plus or minus 0.3 Celsius, which is about 0.7 or 6 Fahrenheit. Very accurate. These devices usually go above 0.5 or 0.6 Celsius in plus or minus. You can measure yourself 3 times, and almost every time you get slightly a little bit different temperature reading. So these are quite accurate. It can read people about 8 feet to 9 feet away. It has a resolution of 256 by 192 in a thermal imaging module. So it's a high sensitive, very accurate thermal imaging resolution for this device. Let's just now see the feed. And so as you can see in here, nobody's stopping in their track. They're simply walking through. I'll just basically show that one more time. As they're coming into a frame, the temperature with the green box is noted over their head. So that's what we call an entry-level thermal imaging camera. 15 to 16 people. It can scan them about a minute, about a second as they're walking, no stopping on their track. But it needs to be somewhat indoor, and I do have some recommendation on how it needs to be installed, and it is fairly reliable. Some places, such as small airports, have already deployed devices like this. Now, here is FDA recommendation as of May 13, 2020. Obviously, you and I are not sitting in here to read through this document, but what this means essentially is that their recommendation is that when you are reading somebody's temperature, you need to have a reference point in order to show that when a camera or a device is reading the individual temperature, it can at the same time get calibrated or verified with a constant device, being a black body. This black body is, for example, generating at 36 degrees Celsius or 97, 98 degrees Fahrenheit at all times, and it is somewhere in the field of the view of, somewhere in the field of a view of their camera. So this image may give you a little bit better illustration of what we are looking at. The individual does not need to stand right by the black body, and I have some real life examples of that. However, it needs to be in a close proximity to that black body camera. The multiple lenses within the thermal imaging cameras are able to read the individual temperature and verify that against the reference point or the source of the constant temperature, being the black body. So that's why black body is needed for areas in which higher accuracies are needed. Going back is pretty much what FDA is saying, is that if you want to do it and you want to do it right, you need to have some kind of reference point. What black body does is that it increases efficiency of the device by providing a reference point, or that constant 36 degree or 98 degree Fahrenheit. So this is the layout. This is another one. So where the camera is and where the black body is, about 1.5 meter, or again, based on the resolution of the camera, this can go up to even 8 feet to 10 feet away. So don't have to be really close, and if it's even 9 to 10 feet, as long as it's within that field of view and that virtual zone that we will create, that would be just fine. So that's so as you can see in the illustration here, the black body camera is shown as that red box. That's basically what the camera is able to see. Now, resolution matters quite a bit, and we've done a good amount of research. I can tell you that we have the world's best product. Honestly, time will tell what will work in the United States. These products that we are looking at and we introduced to you have been in the market for quite some time in China and Singapore, Hong Kong, and regions that they have had temperature scanning for quite some time. We also have looked at their components of these devices. What consists of that device? What makes that device? Many of you are technical folks in here. So if you get a Dell laptop, a Lenovo laptop, you immediately take a look at the processor in there and some of the spec to be able to kind of put it in a perspective, whether it's an i3 processor, i5, or i7 processor. So those components within the box does make a difference. So this is one of the IR thermal imaging devices, or essentially chips, that is we are looking at for some of these products. The more active thermopile array that you have within a given camera, the better resolution you have. And the better resolution you have, the more accurate reading you have. So that's basically, those are the components. Somebody wants to go into details of how these arrays work and how the infrared works, I can tell you that I will be best at it, but we have spent good amount of time looking into this and been able to at least hold the paper not upside down, so right side up. So that's where we at with these with the components. Now, what I mentioned to you was the 3000 AI. Now, what we have is more high-end product. This is in an area that you have more than 5, 8, 10 people in a group. You have 16, you have 17, and it needs to basically be scanned in a fraction of a second. We are talking about millisecond scanning now. Very high accuracy, very large field of view, very well-defined lenses, and thermal imaging processor resolutions. We are looking at 400 by 300 at 30 frames per second. That's some of the best right now on the market. Now, what this does is that it basically increases accuracy. You can have multiple people, again, plus and minus 0.3 Celsius, and AI for facial recognition and more tracking. Traditional thermometers have their problem. At best, 16 people, 16 seconds. Here, we are talking about 16 people in 30 milliseconds. So in a real life, you're basically having 30 people measured, 30 plus people are being measured simultaneously. So we are talking about a very high-end device. So facial recognition, like I mentioned to you, mobile app support. If you want to have an iPad in order to be able to view what's going on. If you want to have real-time warning send out, data analysis, the device is capable of connecting to multiple different other systems, which depending what kind of system you have, if you have some kind of DVR or NVR like Milestone, it can do some integration with that. That's still in works. But as a standalone device, which basically these are being used, they are very, very capable. Now, what I will show you is a video, actually some pictures, some deployments, and some real life interaction of this type of camera. So this is in Italy, Rome, which was, as you know, one of the major epicenters of the pandemic. Rome airport, they looked at multiple devices and decided to go with the Panda. As you see on the right side, there is that blue box, if you will, that blue square that has been defined to the camera as a parameter in which it needs to look for scanning. It also has a facial recognition. On the right side, you see that as the captain has come in, he was able to be scanned. This is the deployment of the camera. So you have a camera on the wall mounted in an entrance, and you have a black body on the opposite. So these are about close to about 10 to 12 feet away. So the camera has its reference being the black body hanging from the ceiling and the camera being mounted. So this is one of the deployment in Venice airport. This is a video in Italian that the local news has shown what is going on in the Venice airport and how this camera was deployed as they go through screening. If this was in Farsi, I would be able to translate to you. So, but here is black body camera that is being used as a reference point, and the Panda being installed right above those inspectors. The inspectors are standing with their iPad and able to see as people are coming in to read their temperature and be able to pull them aside for further inspection if needed. So as individuals are coming in, now this gate is not being flooded with people right now. So, and for the demonstration, they told the individual to stop so it can be shown the image. Now, I'll show you more of these videos and you can see the speed. This is in Bulgaria airport. Now, where the highest, where the Panda camera and the black bodies are installed are not in exact path of the individuals walking. Those individuals that are walking past bias. So this was a temporary installation of a camera on a tripod, which you can certainly do if you don't want to basically mount it from the ceiling with a bracket. This is that can certainly happen. As people are coming in, you can see through the camera device, through the monitor, I'm sorry, the temperatures are being read, and even the guy with the cap, the system was able to track it and read its temperature. That's one of the deployments. Again, quick and dirty. You see some of these deployments being like this on a tripod. This does not mean that the device is not capable of being mounted properly, but it's just that shows people will have to set up thermal scanning in a jiffy, and that's what they did. This one is an insurance company. As people were coming in, again, a tripod setup that was scanning people's images, and this one was well mounted in Pittsburgh, so St. Petersburg, I'm sorry. And you see the Panda being mounted right above the door as people are coming over the escalator, and the black body again being ceiling mounted right as a reference point. This one is a school in Russia. As people are coming through the metal detector, black bodies over their head, and Panda is watching both so that they can be monitored for their temperature. Another deployment in Moscow, another deployment in Singapore. This was somewhat of an outdoor environment. Again, this is not highly recommended because the wind factor and microclimate can affect the accuracy of the device. But however, as you see, this was set up on a tripod, so it was a quick kind of setup so that they can, maybe they had some kind of function and they wanted to scan people and just move on with the rest of their day. Dubai, bank in Dubai, this one is installed on a ceiling. However, due to statics and maybe some other limitation, the black body was set on a tripod in the corner. So one is being permanent, the other one being a temporary kind of deployment. Another one in Dubai, this one in a bank in Egypt as it's being installed. The black body is being mounted over the top. I'm sorry, the Panda is being mounted and the black body is in the opposite side above the door. Thailand, same thing. Hotels in Philippines. This is a temporary setup, again, based on the tripod. People are essentially channeled to walk in between the ropes so that the camera is, as it's somewhat insecure and not well wall mounted, it's on a tripod, won't tip over. That was the intent here. Taiwan here, we got this deployment, and here in the hospital deployment in Beijing, some of these cameras, if you basically take a look at some of these dates, they are from April of 2019. This basically goes back to what I said earlier, that these devices were used in Asia for quite some time. It wasn't just because of COVID-19 that they had to basically do this deployment. So Here's another hospital. The devices are well mounted with poles coming down the ceiling. This is just a light day, I guess. One individual coming in, and the camera to the right is showing what's going on. This one is a smaller hallway, and nobody's stopping. People are walking their track. And here, this individual has something hot on their hand, and the device was indicating that there is a higher temperature. This one is a metro station. What I want to illustrate here, as people are coming down the escalator, there is that perimeter in which the camera is going to focus and read people's temperatures. So that's where this camera comes quite handy, is focus its attention to a given area instead of trying to burn cycles and CPU in other area that is not so important for the thermal imaging processing. Rail station, same thing. The Panda is here. They have it mounted to the camera at the TV, so even the visitors can see themselves and see their own temperature. This one is not a perfect condition. Setting up a tent and reading temperatures depend how much the degree or temperature difference is between the inside the tent and the outside of the tent. It is somewhat acceptable, but you don't want to have a huge delta of temperature, because as people come in and so forth and microclimates are built within the tent, it may set some false alarm. So those are small minor things that yet important that our team will work with you during the onboarding on a setup. This is a primary school in China, Shenzhen, one of their technology hubs. This is signs of innovation. As people are walking through, the camera is scanning them and it's able to read their body temperature, and on the right side, match them against a picture profile that exists in the database to verify. So here we have a setup in a university. Again, a tent setup, depending again on the temperature variance, that may work just fine. Here you can see that as people are coming in, not sure why they're stopping as much. The system is quite capable. Maybe they are trying to maintain the social distancing there. So here's a primary school or elementary school in that was also in China. Here's another setup as people are coming in through the hallway. This one was done in April, actually June of 2019, before COVID. So again, in a hallway, as kids are coming in, their temperature are being read and checked. So these kids are very close to each other, and the system and the AI is capable of reading them. They wonder what that box is. By the way, 36 degrees is normal. So probably the color setting on this system is such that it's red, shows red. It needs to be set up so that it would be green. Sorry, just went too quickly on this one. So this is what I want to show you is this. Right here is a very high traffic elementary school. As kids are coming up and down the stairs, the temperatures are being read very quickly. So here's another one with essentially in an elementary school being mounted. As kids are coming down the stairs, there is a black body over their head and a panda watching them in the opposite side. So now let's look at the pricing. Time and money goes to infinity. Everything is possible. So how much these devices cost, and how much time do they save, and what challenges they will solve for your organization. So we don't want to hide behind the bushes and waste people's time. We figure that you have given us hour and a half of your day, so we are very grateful for that. So not only that, we want to show you the technology and some use cases, but we want to give you information about the pricing to see if it's within your budget or whatnot. If you have any specific questions, please reach out to us. We have product to be shipped. We can ship within 2 weeks of receiving a PO or even sooner, depending where your location is. The kiosk device that you saw, short of the stand and the accessories, it will be $17.95 in month of July. And the reason that we had to put some kind of date is that we have no idea what happens with the tariff, what happens with shipping costs, and so forth. As we are getting these products directly from the factory, we need to be aware of the fluid situation that exists that may increase the price or even may decrease the price. However, it will be safe to basically look at these prices right now for July and kind of do your budgetary assessment of what you're looking at. So we are working on pricing on accessories. For example, a stand that I had over here with the hand sanitizer, which is an electronic hand sanitizer. It's about $230 if I'm not mistaken. The desktop mount is about $80. So we will provide you more specific pricing on the accessories. However, the device itself is about $1,800. The handheld device that I told you, this is the high resolution one. The rest of them, we don't think that are worth bringing to market just because of the inaccuracy that it provides. There was one that I had, I was testing, and it was just disappointing. This was a little bit more accurate than the thermal imager. So this particular one has a higher resolution, has a USB-C charger, and can be connected to a computer. And you're looking at about $14.95. We think that this is a great device for just scanning and being able to record, because of the SD card, the fact that somebody was a scan on that day and the task was done, or the tracking or some kind of information has been captured. It can also be great for the buses or areas that the device needs to just basically be kind of set it and forget it, if you will. The TIC 3000, which was the entry-level camera or mid-level camera, if you will, we call it, for us is the entry, but trust me, compared to some other products, they are actually not an entry, they are mid-level products. This product is listed at $3,900. The price is $2,800. It does not need to have a black body camera, meaning that if you do want to increase its accuracy, later on, you can add the black body camera to it. So the black body, as you saw in some of the deployment, can be on a tripod or be mounted. And with this particular device, the software will run on your computer, and you will be able to see real-time feed of what's going on. And that computer can be connected to external LCD or LED TV or your liking. So that's this particular camera. Now, drum roll, please. The Panda. So the Panda, what we have is the full package, which includes the Smart NVR, is the Panda 5316 AI at $19,000, compared to some of the other solutions that are out there, well past $20,000. We think this is a great product. Now, the smart viewing station, which has lots of AI function, for example, counting people as they go through an entrance and so forth, can support 16 of these cameras. However, if you buy the first kit, it comes with that smart NVR. Any additional that you need to buy, you don't need to buy another NVR. So therefore, we have a bundle that is a Panda 5300 AI, which is the device itself. The other products that we are looking at the moment is metal detector with thermal imaging camera on the top. This is a great device for if your environment, whether you're high school or your city police or different environment, you need to have a metal detector. And as people are going through the metal detector, might as well scan their temperature as well. This device we are looking at probably around $8,000, but we are still making some testing, doing some testing in China, and seeing what the limitations are, what the capabilities are. So we are still spending a little bit more time. So I hope you got good amount of information here, and what I shared with you was worth your time. I look at the list of the folks that are here, and I recognize so many of you guys that worked with us for so many years. So I want to thank you for the time, for the business relationship that we have had over the years. Those who we haven't had the pleasure of working with, I want to thank you for giving us a chance and the opportunity to sit down and go through our presentation. I know when it comes to IT service providers, many of you have many choices. The choices are endless. But the fact that you have given us the opportunity means a great deal to us. And what we look at is continuous business with our customers. So that being said, again, thank you so much. I hope you have a great week ahead of you, and let us know if you have any questions. Our email is going to be on the display as Ramin will be going through his section of the presentation. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you, Arman. Hello, everybody. I'm going to quickly put my slides up. Okay, I hope everyone can see my slides. It's great to see some.
You may want to enable your camera.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
It's the third button to the right next to the 9th button to the left.
Yes, as the.
It's the problem when you have 4 monitors.
You know, my Zoom doesn't want to cooperate. Let me just stop sharing and do it. Okay, sorry about that. Right, hi, everybody. This is better. Okay. Well, it's great to see so many friends here, attendees. We appreciate having you here. For those of you who don't know me, I am Ramin Movahedi. I am the Vice President of Advanced Technology at IT Management Corporation, and everything that you heard from Arman and Joe, they learned from me. One of the things that, of course, they're giggling. One of the things that keep me up at night, my job is really to find advanced, innovative technology to address the never-ending new needs of our constituency and our clients. We often strive to find technology that we expected to come. We just had to wait and wait for the manufacturers and for the solution providers to catch up. But with the COVID-19, as hard as it is to believe that it's only been about 4 months since we've faced the challenges, that were caused by it, we were presented with a series of completely unexpected, as I'm sure you agree, situations where we needed to quickly put together solutions that would not only alleviate the pain, but also contribute to the compliance, to the safety, and to the operations of our clients. One of the things that we are very proud of that we were able to present to our clients and to our friends very quickly is a solution that relates to telephony and unified communications in general. As I'm sure you experienced, many of us did everything we could within our powers to quickly resume our operations at our offices, in our schools and buildings. And what came along with the unknown was deviation from our norm. As an example, we started working from home. Telephony is not something that you could quickly transfer from your offices to your home. So a lot of us in various lines of work, schools, government offices, we started using our cell phones, and we had to make the compromise between privacy, between the ability to manage calls, and also many other important factors had to be compromised so we could maintain at least semi normalcy. So what we did, which I'm very proud of, is our engineers and our programmers at 101 Voice very quickly put together a very popular and effective solution called onenumber.io, which we have a government and educational flavor for, specifically designed to make sure that our schools, our government employees, first of all, maintain their own privacy. Let's say, as an example, if you are a special ed teacher, you are supposed to have open communication with a student and the parents at all time. They are supposed to be able to reach you. And, you know, what do? You give them your cell phone number if you're not at the office. Is it okay? Do you want your cell phone to be out in the public? And more importantly, is it okay if they call and leave a private message, maybe even medical message on your personal cell phone? What kind of a situation are we dealing with? And of course, with all the best intentions, some of these regulations had to be, the rules had to be bent. Well, not with onenumber.io. We have created something that is extremely robust. It can be deployed without the need for changing your phone system, even though we would love for you to consider and use 101 Voice if you are not already doing it. But we can give you this tool. In fact, as an attendee, I'm very happy and honored to provide anyone who is in this group to try 30 licenses of our onenumber.io for the next 2 months, free of charge, so you can see how impactful it is. It complies. It helps you comply with HIPAA compliance in case of medical and privacy factors. It allows the management of or the administrators of the organization to have visibility to the communication. As an example, you know, it is when the cell phones are being used, it is very difficult to determine who has called, how many times, what calls are being answered, and what calls are not. And even more importantly, you know, the compliance factor. So onenumber.io is essentially a series of all the main functionalities and features that come with our 101 Voice managed cloud telephony. It is extremely easy to deploy. It's very inexpensive for our government and educational clients. We have special pricing, which in your case, the first 2 months are going to be free of charge. And we would be honored to let you use this tool, especially at such an important time, and stay in compliance. So OneNumber is an award-winning, by the way, feature, and I will stop bragging about it. But if you're interested, let us know, and I'll send you additional information and even a video to tell you more about how it works. Another very important project that we've been working on, and there's a lot of traction, a lot of interest, is hybrid classrooms. And maybe I should have titled this hybrid classroom / hybrid meeting room. We don't really know if we are ever going to go back to the conventional, traditional classroom format where, 15 to 28, 30 students would sit with their teachers and have the same experience that we had as children going through our educational life. And some sacrifices have been made during these times when people have had to do Zoom learning and remote learning. But the idea is that with the help of technology, we could actually do better. We could facilitate an environment where those students who do come to the classroom, along with those students who stay home for whatever reason, preference, ordinance, etc., can still have the same experience with the use of technology. We've spent a lot of time, looked at a lot of equipment, a lot of solutions, and essentially have come up with some really great ways of creating that environment. The hybrid classroom essentially is, the idea is that the teacher will be in the classroom, some of the students will be in the classroom, and then some would be working from remote areas or studying from remote areas. The same goes for meetings, and this is not a new concept with the meetings, where so some are away and some together in the same room. But how do we put this together? How do we make it a reality with some of the special needs of an educational environment and also budgetary concerns and requirements? What we have come to, our engineers and our solution providers have come to, is a series of solutions by Poly, which used to be Polycom, that we have put together. We've done a lot of research in our labs, brought various versions of the equipment that based on the needs and the requirements of different applications. Poly has put together from a very basic, low-cost camera speaker solution that basically does a very good job in a small room, to products that would allow you to directly connect to Zoom or meetings, or hopefully very soon other collaboration platforms without the need of a computer or wires. Everything self-contained, high-resolution cameras, responsive speakers that put the focus toward the active members of the classroom or the boardroom. We have some really amazing things that are available today for you to look at. We can set up an executive briefing, proof of concept meeting for you to look at things and see how far we have come because of the demands and the requirements of COVID-19. So for additional information,
sorry about that, Ramin. Let me interject something in here to some of the folks, because some of the questions have come in. What I want to mention is that while we have partnered with Poly, but we have worked with Cisco and Aver, and Cisco also has a product, and that is WebEx Kit. Whether you are looking at the WebEx Kit or you're looking at the X50 or the X30 with Polycom, the idea of some of these products is such that as some students are at home and some are in the classroom, they can be on a same session, same learning session. As I'm talking to some of my friends in different school districts, they are looking at the A days and the B days, Monday, Wednesday, and Tuesday, Thursday, for some group of kids. So with utilizing hybrid classroom, the kids that are sitting at home on the B days can essentially be remotely attending a classroom and be able to continue their education. So granted, the idea of separating a kids and having an A day and a B day is to be able to separate them because of the physical distancing. However, while they're at home, they can continue their education. So it's very important to look at these hybrid classrooms. And again, not only Poly, but also WebEx. If you are a WebEx or Cisco environment, we highly recommend looking at those or any other product. So that's what I want to indicate in here. I see lots of questions in the channel that is coming in through regarding our presentation. Ramin is going to basically have a few more slides, and then I'll take on most of those questions as I'm reviewing them right now. Sorry about that, Ramin. Go on.
No, perfect. Thanks, Armand, for adding that. And yes, absolutely. We take pride in not being in being a vendor agnostic solution provider. So what we present to you is always what we think is the best for the job, and definitely Cisco, Logitech, and several other providers have done great work in this area as well. Another exciting product that our company has been promoting and working on for more than a year now is this incredibly fast-growing and impressive line of cameras by Verkada. Verkada, I can say, came out of nowhere from the same folks who started Meraki and later on sold it to Cisco. It's a solution. It's a strictly cloud-based camera solution for those of you who don't know this line of cameras. That brings a refreshing new and revolutionary, I would say, take to this surveillance industry. I don't want to take too much time about telling you how Verkada surveillance system works. I can just tell you that it is extremely simple. You just need patch cord that goes to a PoE, and the cameras come live. Everything is cloud-based. It's very robust, high quality. Has built-in intelligence, through artificial intelligence as well as machine learning, and it does everything right. But the reason that, especially with respect to COVID-19, we are excited about Verkada is the visionaries have a lot of built-in, they imagined the kind of things that would be necessary. So what they did, they put a lot of built-in features that very quickly ended up being fine-tuned for, say, our particular situation here. As an example, Verkada cameras are inherently designed to be able to very quickly and painlessly assist administrators in any environment, school or office, to identify activities that find individuals, blue shirt with a beard and a backpack, times of the day, and so on and so forth. But what they brought in, especially interesting for COVID-19, is things like crowd reporting. It's a very useful tool for any place from schools to shopping centers to offices where, if people more than 6 or 10 are not supposed to be congregating, you can quickly identify that and take the necessary actions. So another thing that is really important is this heat mapping that you can see on the screen, where actually has nothing to do with heat, but has a lot to do with traffic and activities. If you have a cafeteria or a hallway, and throughout the day, a lot of students or employees are walking through, naturally, you want to clean the area that has experienced most traffic. Disinfections and cleaning would be taking place there, or you may, if you have different lanes, you may want to have additional staffing to address the needs and congestion in certain areas. So not diving too deep in this particular line of products, which I would love to talk to any one of you individually about. It's a terrific solution, and it has some very practical and effective applications toward COVID-19 related limitations. Again, thank you for your time. I appreciate the opportunity to discuss these 3 subjects, and I'll pass this back on to Armand. We are ready to answer any questions that you have.
All right, thank you so much, Ramin. Thank you, everyone. So our email is on the screen, sled@itmgmt.com, sled@itmgmt.com. You can send us an email at anytime, any question. And those of you who don't have my cell phone number, it's 408-204-8000, 408-204-8000. Call me, text me. I'm here to help in any shape or form that I can. As far as the questions that are up, there are some awesome questions from the audience. So, does the KS3800 AI record temperature and faces? The answer to that is yes, it does. Can it set up a facial recognition? The answer to that is yes, it does. What sort of management system does it need? It comes with an application that is about $220 add-on. If you want to have some kind of management system to report and record those information, if you have multiple of those, I highly recommend it. The software is a Windows-based software that you can have in your school network or your organization network, and it basically helps with tracking the data. However, the device, you can essentially import people's faces and their information, and it will be able to recognize them. Now, you don't necessarily have to use that function. You can just use it as a kiosk to scan images. We do also recommend, if somebody wants to buy this device, even though it comes with a user manual that you can use and set up the unit yourself, you may want to essentially get an onboarding session with us so that we can give you some pointers and walk you through on the setup. If further services needed, like a white glove service and that kind of thing, we'll be more than happy to help you. However, given the fact that the device can operate without going on a network, or can be a Wi-Fi client or a network plug-in client, it's a fairly simple device for most IT folks out there. Next question is that, what would be the quickest one to use when loading a big bus? So loading a big bus, what we have come across is the portable unit makes it very easy, because when loading in a bus, you don't have to be inspected for face mask. I mean, they need to be wearing a face mask, but the driver or the attendants can basically tell them, put your face mask. So that having that handheld makes it so much easier to just, as people walk in, be scanned on regular as they go through. That's what I recommend, seeing most of these products. Having the TIC 3000 would be a little bit of an overkill on setting up with the tripod and things of that nature. So I would say the portable, the P2816 LCD SD-H will probably be the product that you should be looking at. Hope that answered your question. A good friend is asking, which device would you recommend? A bus, again, that might have multiple students walking into the bus in a shift. So again, I would go back to the portable handheld. Hope I answered that right. Another good friend is asking, the one guy that was walking, but the square was not on his head. Does it mean that the person has to walk toward the camera? Yes, absolutely. So we have the two cameras set up. If you're looking at the black body and the Panda, or the black body with TIC 3000, the thermal imaging and the image processing is on the camera that is faced toward the individual that is walking. So it needs to be able to at least capture about 80% of the individual's face. Now, there is AI in there that if the face is moving and so forth, the camera is trying to just follow and get a little bit more pixelation out of that face to be able to analyze. However, it is possible that by somebody just basically covering their face or walking backward, be essentially skipping the screening process. Now, we think in most situations there would be somebody just basically standing and looking over the population of what's going on, and if somebody needs to be screened a little bit further for further temperature monitoring, would be looking and say, please, so-and-so, don't walk backward and things of that nature. But yes, Vanessa, in this, they need to be face the camera. Does it mean, yes, so that's the question. How accurate is TIC 3000 AI without the black body? Manufacturer spec is still within the, without a black body, is plus and minus 5 degrees Celsius, plus or minus 0.5 degree Celsius, which translates to 0.9 degree Fahrenheit. With having a black body, the device is capable of getting a better reading and more accurate reading. However, if you are in an environment that the temperature changes quite a bit, for example, you got a drift coming through, or you have an air condition, or you have a heater, or you have a microwave close by, they can essentially affect the accuracy of the device. So adding a black body would just make it a little bit more accurate. So I would say, I personally would get TIC 3000 AI, and if you think you need to enhance the accuracy, then buy the black body. Not that I'm saying that don't want to sell products. Honestly, that's not the case. It's not that I don't want to solve your problem. Depending on your environment, you may just be fine with the TIC 3000 AI. If you have something in mind of where you want to be installing this, give us a call, send us an email. We can do FaceTime, Zoom, Hangout, Meet, you name it, flavor of the day. And we promise we are not going to have our Zoom uniform. we will walk with you virtually, if you know what I mean, and kind of give you some ideas of what we think the best deployment for your environment might be. If you buy more product, does it lower the price? Yes, we are looking at items over 10 units will have a better pricing. At the moment, that's what we are looking at. Larger than 10 units, you may want to basically send us an email, let us know, and we'll work with you. The next question is that, what would you recommend for a trade show scanning attendance and employee? Crowd of usually about 5,000. So I would go with the, so if your trade show is your particular booth that people are coming in, then I would go with the TIC 3000. But however, if you're looking at a trade show such as a convention center, let's say Santa Clara Convention Centers or others, that you have people coming in, I would say if the doors are such that you will, let's say the doors are such that you have 2 or 3 or maybe 4 primary door where people are coming, I would definitely go with a Panda. Panda is your device, definitely to be looked into that. Now, if they have more doors, that means that less people, let's say at the time, maybe about less than 10 people are walking through those doors. Again, I know conventions are very crowded and so forth. I would say in that scenario, go with TIC 3000. Now, I don't want to say these products that I mentioned were bad. However, as we are working further into this, we are also analyzing other products. There is a TIC 5400 that we are looking at right now. Our manufacturer partners are doing some testing of this particular device that will be having a less resolution, that 400 by 300. So the resolution on that is not as high as what the Panda has, because for Panda, it has a great processor, extremely fast, and you saw some of the case studies. However, not everybody needs 400 by 300 resolution. They might just be fine with 256 resolution. So we are looking at a product as TIC 5400 AI, and that would be roughly about $9,000. So much lower than Panda, but it does have a black body. It works with black body. It has a camera, black body, and a AI terminal for monitoring and analytics and recording and things of that nature. So if you do have an interest on the TIC 5400 AI, send us an email. That might be an okay product for your environment. That product will be out late July, as we are essentially working on some of the testing and verifying references and deployments and things of that nature. Those are some of the questions that has been posted. There has been other private messages that have come across. Do any of these products exist on any of the purchasing vehicles? At the moment, the answer is no. However, there is a process that we are working with US ETPA, United States Educational Technology Purchasing Alliance, US ETPA, which has a free membership and does cover 48 states out of 50 nationwide. And within that contract, you would be able to use a purchasing agreement or a piggybackable contract. That would most likely be available in July or August or September, maybe in August. Don't have the specifics. However, most of these products are below the bid limits, as most people know. I mean, I see so many friends that are in the purchasing and on the facility side of the house, so I don't want to speak out of term, so they know the mechanics of that a little bit better. However, we are looking at adding this product to US ETPA, United States Educational Technology Purchasing Alliance. That was one question. The other question was about warranty and support. So these products are going to have year hardware support, 90 days software support if you don't get the extended support. Most of these products are such that you would need some kind of onboarding session to be familiar with the user interface, the do's, the don'ts, and just kind of know how to navigate around the system. They are not extremely complex. However, I'll take it back. The Panda product is a complex product because of the resolutions and the setting and pixelations and so forth. That is by nature, because of its capability, it is a complex product that I highly recommend buying professional services with that product. Most other products, depending on your budget and your staffing, you may not need to have a full professional services engagement with us or your vendor partners. Let me see if there's any other question. Joe and Ramin, are there any questions posted on your site?
I think you covered them all, Armand.
No, I think that's fantastic. No, we're good.
All right. That being said, I want to thank you guys for your time. Sorry we went five minutes past a lot of time. I appreciate everybody's engagement and looking forward to work with you.